Okay, y'all, I'm back. Part two. Part two of my story time. Sophia the Spirit, along with a bunch of other stuff. So, Jason Peerless. I went to school with this boy named Jason Peerless. His dad rented me the house. Later on to me, that was like, I'm like, whoa, it was just fate or something like that. But I'm sure he know nothing about me, and I ain't know nothing about him. Me and his son graduated in 2006, the same year from the same high school, right? That's how, I figured out who he was. But, he got my background and everything, like where I work, where I went to school. So that's how he really found out I graduated with his son. So, you know, at the same time, too, God do a lot of stuff, with your life and place you in certain situations that's like later on you'll get the gist of it and you'll get the reason of why it happened. I think now I'm finding out the reason why that happened, why I wasn't phased um, by living in the cemetery, why nobody, saw me as being phased or scared or I think that's just the spirit within me. Um, I'm that connected with God, like literally. Um, I don't think nothing could have scared me. As a child growing up, I even liked the dark, being scared and weird stuff. My aunts will tell you about that. Um, but yeah, he rented me the house. Um, I just thought that was different. But yeah, he was so like shocked. You went to school with my son. I think that's why he rented the house to me quickly, so fast too. It gave it a little, you know, to go ahead and rent it to me. It's a beautiful house. Um, Long story short, it was something very very fishy with this married lady. Uh, I, I I couldn't get with the stuff that was linking up. Um, my son, young at the time, also they saying that spirits, will try to reach a child, get into a child, before they would an adult because they can live through a child. A kid don't know what's going on if they feel different or nothing. They just you know stuff will take over them, and I think it was really getting to my son. They very innocent kids. They don't know, so he probably felt something in him that he couldn't say, but that was a sign. Sophia, all that stuff was a sign. Also, I had, this was what the going into the second month. I had cable hooked up. Now I know I'm going a little back, but I had to have cable hooked up um, in the house, and we wanted cable. So the man who actually came and hooked up our cable, basically, he came in. He was even asking us questions like, "Oh, y'all live here?" And he was a black guy. Um, I think he was even shocked too. Like, y'all chose to live here. He didn't say that, but he just in other senses he was just like probably like they live here. So it was a wire he had to get to, like a cable, and he had to go in the basement. When I tell you, and I'm not joking, y'all. When I tell you that this man went in the basement, he was in the basement maybe 2-3 seconds. It was only me there, me and him. He went in the basement. As soon as he got to the bottom of them steps, he ran back up the stairs and ran out my house. I kid you not. This man ran out of my house. And me not knowing what he did, that he went out He ran out the house literally. This is what he did. He took off his hat. He was like, he said something in there. I'm like, something like what? Like what? He said, I can't say. He said, but I feel something. He said, this is what he told me. He said, you are protected. Y'all are protected. But there's something in there. This was in the beginning. That part was in the beginning. Me getting my cable hooked up. I didn't even run then. I was just like tripping later. I was like, why did he say that? Like, I even went in the basement myself and I was like, it's just my basement, you know. Another thing they say, never leave behind, or, well, when somebody move out of a house, make sure they take all their belongings with them, you know. Take all your belongings with you, basically, right? So another thing I saw in my basement when we first moved there, which I didn't think nothing of at the time. I didn't care. It was some praying hands like this, in the shape of a candle, right? White candle, prayer hands. It was a little box next to it. It looked like it looked weird. I want to say it did look weird. I never touched it. I never got curious about it. I'm sure, like, if I stayed there longer, I would have eventually a spirit probably would have got to me and I would have been touching that stuff and checking it out. But that stuff, it did look weird. I'm going to say that. It looked weird. And I probably should have saw that in the beginning. But he even told us when we first moved there, Jason, that Mr. Peerless, he said, you know, if you want us to get this stuff out, we can. Otherwise, it's just old stuff from the last tenant. And I'm like, okay. So y'all had a tenant here before, too. Usually, that looked like a house that a caretaker was staying in. But like I said, it was a beautiful house. Sophia did it for me. My son vomiting, me being, woken up out of my sleep to banging noises, night before, police showing up at my house, that did it for me. Reading up that it's a Jewish cemetery and the name Sofia is supposedly Jewish. A lot of that stuff, at that 5th month, it kind of did it for me. I was really done after that. But I honestly could say, still to this day, if I could do it all over again, I would move in the house. Again, I just love the house. I don't know. Later on, I knew that something was wrong because a lot of that stuff wasn't adding up. Police showing up, asking for Mary. Mary ain't lived there in over 2 or 3 years. Then they asked me if I had an upstairs. The house clearly looks like a ranch style, 1 level basement, And my husband, he said maybe they was trying to scare us. Maybe they was trying to run us away. And I couldn't even see that happening because it's like, what you gonna let us move in for us to run, for y'all to run us out in like a couple months? The cable guy was fucking scared shitless. Like, he didn't even complete my job. Somebody else, I think. No, he did complete my job. I went in the basement with him when he calmed down. But he said something is in there, and he felt it. See, I don't know how his spirit is. And if he, I can't say nothing about his spirit. I don't know if he was right with God or what, but he told me, he said, y'all are protected. He said, you don't feel that? That's what he told me. He looked at me, he said, you don't feel that? I said, feel what, sir? Then he said, y'all protected. And I'm still trying to figure out to this day what that means. Literally. I mean, the house was amazing. But I couldn't risk, like, it was just all cemetery, all graveyards, all, dead people, all death. I just couldn't risk like something actually happening, some paranormal shit or just anything, and then there'll be no witnesses. Like, I, I wish I knew what happened to Mary. For real, y'all. I'm dead serious. I could say I lived in this house all day, but only I could tell this story. Only we lived through this, and it's like, I wonder what happened to Mary. I wasn't scared, but I wonder what happened. What eventually took over Mary? Why Mary don't live here no more? The house wasn't that much in rent. It was reasonable for a 3 bedroom single family house. It was to me it was. I moved in it for the looks of the house, the amount it was, and just the secludedness. No neighbors. I don't like neighbors. Um, I don't like having neighbors around me. Just I'm private like that. But all that stuff began to be deal breakers. Also, it was an actual funeral. Um, Somebody was getting laid to rest, maybe 8 to 10 feet across my front yard. 8 to 10 feet. I was sitting in my living room at the time, watching TV. And basically, I mean, that didn't even phase me at the point. I looked at that as being normal. People pass away. It didn't scare me. I just was like, it's different to look out your front yard, and when you look out your windows every day, all you see is graveyard, graveyard, graveyard. We had one road by on the side of our house, and even the bus, even my son's bus came to pick him up from school, or came to pick him up from school to drop him off at home and pick them up from home in the morning. I know that bus driver thought we were sick. I'm sure. But after that 5th month, after all those deal breakers, we was gone, y'all. We said forget it. So basically, Sophia the spirit ran us out of our home, y'all. She ran us away, along with a lot of other stuff. When my family really talked about me, they said, "Girl, why you live around dead people? Something wrong with you. I always knew you was crazy. As a kid, you was messed up." But I was a good kid. But it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't say why I felt like that was okay at that time. I felt like it was so normal. Like, I'm the only house here. You live around all them spirits. But like, I knew where my spirit was. I don't know. It was just me, my husband, my then boyfriend, now husband. It was us three and my son at that house. And it was messing with my kids, so we had to go. We had to say deuces. But it's like it didn't phase me, nor did it phase my husband. Like, he used to be in his man cave, which was the basement. He fixed it up, hooked it up, couch set, big TV, banging music, hitting the gas. Nothing. He wasn't scared. He didn't say he ever saw anything, felt anything in that basement. Um, Hell, he could have been hitting the gas, passing it to the ghost. You don't even know what, you know. Who knows? But y'all, comment down below. I don't know if that freaked y'all out. It freaks me out now. Because I know so much. Well, I'm finding so much out about it. Or I already did, but it's even more that just is coming to light with just like spiritual stuff, that all plays a part. Um, One more thing. At that house, it was a power outage one morning. Everybody lights supposedly went out. We energies, reaching out to people. Power outage. Tell me why our lights didn't even go off. They all got dim. Like, if a light would be covered like that, they just all went dim. They never went completely out. They went dim. That was my first time experiencing something like that. Usually when you have a power outage, all your power just goes. No, my lights went dim. Oh, hold on. This was freaky. My lights went dim. But I think some appliances was still on. If I wasn't mistaken, the refrigerator was still working. This stuff give me the chills talking about it now because I'm seeing it for what it is now. I didn't see that before. But like I said, I don't know if it's just God made me who I am. And this is just a lesson, something to make me see clear, I guess. I don't know. But all I can do is shake my head and be like, damn, Sofia, the spirit, and all this other shit ran us away. Well, that's my story time, y'all. I am like super, 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 kind of relieved just to share it with other people. Maybe y'all had some similar stories. I don't know. But, yeah. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It's getting late and I'm getting sleepy. I'm about to go night night. By the way, this house that I'm in is not around no cemeteries. Okay, I don't got spirits, and none of my kids ain't vomiting and shit like that. Okay, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. But that was a lesson learned. Still trying to figure out more about that though. But thank y'all for tuning in. Good night. I'm gonna see y'all next time.